one more question there.
One more.
A fourth question.
It's a very swift question. Since your comments at the weekend in Japan, market expectations of a swift cut in interest rates have lowered. Is the market's interpretation of your comments at the weekend correct? And the second question is on fourth quarter growth. Have the fourth quarter Eurozone growth results today changed your outlook on medium-term Eurozone growth in any way?
Okay, so that was the fourth one, and we stop there. Okay. First of all, I like very much the first one, to be frank. Because there is an asymmetry perceived by my colleagues and I, which is very surprising. Obviously, logic and simple arithmetic would suggest that half of the time you would be called to increase rates, and half the time you would be called to decrease rates, taking into account the fact that it is the instruments that we have to deliver price stability. The stakes of price stability are absolutely gigantic. It is not only what is enshrined in the treaty, but it is also what the people are calling for. I mean, when we ask the people what they think, they say we consider price stability of utmost importance, and by the way, we are not necessarily very satisfied with what we are observing today. So normally, it seems to me that we should be under such good advices in an equal fashion, up or down. It's not the case at all. I can tell you 99% of the case, we hear call for going downward, and 1% of the case, we hear call for going upward, which is, frankly speaking, seen in our own perspective, a little bit surprising. When we increased rates in December 2005, practically everybody was telling us, no, don't do that. By the way, we were told that by the IMF at the time, by the OECD at the time. I would not mention a certain number of voices coming from the executive branches, I let you remember, and a large deal, I have to say, obviously, of academics, and a very large deal of economists coming from private institutions and markets. Today, nobody would say you were wrong in increasing rates in 2005. And if there is an ex post judgment, it is more or less that, well, it was overdue that it would be done. So there is something bizarre. So first question is good. The first question is good. And I would respond, yes, we have to be right. We are permanently called hyper-orthodox. It is untrue. We consider we are right. And it's not that easy to be right. And we have a number, of course, of measure of what we do. One of the measure, when I look at the last indication of the survey of professional forecasters, taking into account that price stability, our definition is less than 2, close to 2, again at the level of the 320 million people of the euro area. What they are telling us is in line with this definition, less than 2, close to 2, but extremely close to 2. And I draw your attention on that. If there was a bias in our own action, it would be visible in some of these measures that we have of the inflation expectations. Now I turn to the, it seems to me that all the other questions were more or less and presented with a talent that I admire, obviously, turning around what is exactly the message. First of all, you have a very clear message of the Council of Governors. I gave it in my introductory statement. And I repeated exactly that introductory statement in Tokyo. And I will repeat again on a crucial point. I said in Frankfurt and in Tokyo, and I say in Barcelona, nobody called for an increase of rates. Nobody called for a decrease of rates. And that is the position of the Governing Council. So it perhaps after Frankfurt there was, the telescope where, or the microscope, we are looking at no call for an increase of rates. After Tokyo, they were much more conscious of the fact that there was no call for a decrease of rates. And we said, and I said on behalf of the Governing Council, that we were constantly alert, that we had to deliver price stability, that the anchoring of inflationary expectations was of the essence, and that we would do, and this is the response, I think, to the second question, what would be necessary to solidly anchor inflationary expectations, deliver price stability in line with our definition, and be credible in that delivery. And we are, again, in a situation where not only it is what we are called for, not only what the people of Europe is calling upon us, but what is good for and right for long-term sustainable growth and job creation, and what is good, particularly in period of turbulences. Let me also mention, I mentioned that during the speech I delivered, we have created the euro 9 years ago. We have solidly anchored inflationary expectations since the very beginning, in line with our definition of price stability, in line with a solid, again, tradition of credibility which existed in Europe. How many jobs have we created over that period of time? 15 million. 15 million new jobs. Spain has contributed a lot. 2 million more than in the United States of America. It seems that I am the only one to say that, frankly speaking, in terms of communication. I don't hear that very, very often. And from time to time, I hear the contrary. I hear these guys are obsessed by price stability. The problem is job creation. But there is no contradiction. And I have to say, in front of academics, there is a mainstream, if I may, of academics that consider that in the medium run, it's really like that it functions. I mean, we have the memory of the 70s. So we made progress. We accept that now. And I take it again that it has to be understood fully that we want both. The people want both. The people are asking us price stability and job creation. They don't tell, we could accept pretty well a lot of inflation. They don't tell that. They are more demanding. They are fully in line with the academic, again, consensus, if I may. I mean, I'm speaking in front of you, that price stability and solid anchoring of inflation expectation is a necessary condition for sustainable growth and job creation. And we all agree on that, I have to say, in the central bank constituency. So it was a long response to the 4 questions that were the last ones.
Okay, thank you very much. I wonder how tomorrow they will interpret your questions, our friends from the back row.
Well, what I said is pure poetry. You don't change a poem.
Thank you very much. Thank you.